Welcome to this explainer. It's pretty wild to think about. How does a single watch, starting out at just a few grand, eventually escalate to a price tag that literally costs more than a family home? Well, today we're decoding the 7 distinct buyer lifestyles of Rolex ownership. We're going to take a super close look at this climb, going from practical entry point timepieces all the way up to factory diamonds, bespoke dials, and those absolutely insane $1 million auction lots. Because here's the thing. What changes between these levels isn't just the price tag, it's the entire reality of the person wearing the watch. We're talking going from the carefree young professional to the hyper-stressed commodity investor, and finally reaching the untouchable elite.
Okay, let's dive into this. At the absolute peak of this market, buyers are, quite literally, chasing untouchability itself. But getting to that peak? Oh, that is a journey. Buying a Rolex is rarely just about timekeeping, right? As we'll see today, it's about progressing up a very deliberate ladder. You're moving step by step from everyday utility toward complete, undeniable exclusivity.
So here's our roadmap for the climb. First, entry points and everyday permanence. Second, the chase and two-tone status. Third, solid gold as asset class. And finally, legacy, diamonds, and untouchable summits. We're going to follow this literal ladder of escalation to see exactly how the watch, the cost, and most importantly, the lifestyle transform at every single rung. Let's get into it.
All right, let's begin grounded right at the foundation. Section 1, Entry Points and Everyday Permanence. This covers levels 1 and 2 of the Rolex ladder, which is where the journey kicks off for most people. The starting line begins at level 1. We're looking at the Oyster Perpetual and the Air King, which start anywhere between roughly $6,200 and $8,150. These are built from Rolex's proprietary 904L Oyster steel. And the target demographic here? Usually it's a young professional. They aren't really looking to flex at a nightclub. They just want a robust, super reliable watch that completely flies under the radar at a Tuesday morning stand-up meeting. Now moving up to level 2, we see the Datejust and the Steel Explorer, ranging from $8,000 to $11,000. Here, the buyer profile shifts just a bit to a mid-career professional. This tier is all about versatility. A Datejust moves seamlessly from a high-stakes business meeting straight to weekend outings, and it never feels out of place.
And that brings us to a really crucial concept for these early levels, legitimacy. It's that undeniable feeling of owning a real Rolex and the sense of entry into a world that stretches far, far above. Notice what's beautifully missing at this stage? No wait lists to battle. No volatile gold prices to track. Zero speculation. The buyer at this level isn't flipping watches for a quick profit. For them, elegance and permanence totally outweigh the thrill of novelty. They want a safe, confident forever watch that simply settles in and just becomes part of their personal story. But as you can probably guess, that relaxed permanence absolutely evaporates as we move up the ladder. Welcome to Section 2, the chase and two-tone status. This is where we hit levels 3 and 4, and let me tell you, the competition gets fierce. Level 3 is literally the battleground for serious collectors. We're talking about highly coveted models, the Submariner, the Sea Dweller, the steel ceramic Daytona. The retail prices for these usually sit between $10,000 and $17,000. But honestly, those retail numbers are basically illusions. Securing one of these icons means entering a world of extreme scarcity. You aren't just buying a watch here, you're essentially applying for a multi-year, part-time job of battling dealer allocation games. And this brilliantly illustrates what that extreme scarcity actually creates, a staggering 100% premium. A GMT Master 2 Pepsi can easily command double its official retail cost on the frantic secondary market. Just imagine that for a second, paying an extra 10 grand just to skip a line. A steel Daytona listed at $16,000 routinely fetches over $30,000. At this level, watches completely transform from mere tools into tokens of access. The true currency here isn't just money anymore. No, it's relationships, it's purchase history, and it's a tremendous amount of patience. This is where the chase truly begins. So let's see how this builds into level 4. We graduate from steel, which, remember, signals restraint, and a sort of everyday tool watch mentality, over to Rolsor, or two-tone gold. And this clearly signals status, occasion, and wealth. Priced between $14,000 and $22,000, this is where gold makes its very first appearance, but not in an overwhelming, flashy way. The lifestyle shifts here too. The buyer is often a seasoned professional who uses their watch to confidently signal their success. It's an emotional leap, really, going from keeping things understated at the office to intentionally letting a little status shine through at a weekend dinner reservation. Now we are crossing a massive threshold in our climb. Section 3, solid gold as asset class. So, the crucial point is at level 5, the watch officially becomes tethered to the global price of gold. We're looking at solid gold models like the Daytona, the Day-Date, the GMT Master Second, and the Sky Dweller. These are crafted entirely from 18-karat yellow, white, or Everose gold. Prices at this level? They range from $30,000 to $55,000. And the buyer fundamentally changes here. They go from being a simple collector to an investor reacting to the commodities market. Think about it. In 2026, with gold trading above $4,200 an ounce, the value of the watch is quite literally tied to the heavy metal it's constructed from.
And naturally, this introduces what we call the investor lifestyle burdens. You'd think dropping 50 grand on a watch buys you peace of mind, right? Well, wrong. Actually, when a watch behaves like an asset class, ownership becomes this tight, stressful calculation. Buyers at this level are constantly tracking those $4,200 per ounce gold spot prices. They're trying to time their purchases perfectly to hedge against things like, say, the 14% retail price hikes that Rolex pushed through in a single year just to match the commodities market. And the ongoing costs? Oh, they climb sharply. We're talking about managing $1,500 annual insurance premiums and paying $2,000 or more just for a routine gold case polish and service. Buying at this level is seriously about managing financial risk and deeply understanding market volatility.
Finally, we are leaving the standard market behind entirely. Section 4, Legacy, Diamonds, and Untouchable Summits. Welcome to Levels 6 and 7, the absolute, ultra-elite spheres of the Rolex ladder. Level 6 brings us face-to-face with a Day-Date president. Ranging from $50,000 to well over $100,000, this is Rolex's ultimate statement of rank. These pieces are crafted entirely from 18-karat gold, and very often feature factory gem set dials or even full pavé cases. And precision absolutely matters here. Rolex uses only the top 0.02% of diamonds in the world. That guarantees brilliance, and it guarantees the warranty. If you put aftermarket stones on it, that strips away the legitimacy immediately. But the true value of the president isn't just the gems, right? It's the invisible doors these watches open. It's the heritage they carry and the legacy they built for the elite who wear them. Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer scale of Level 7, the summit of Rolex ownership. Just think about the Rainbow Daytona. This is a legendary watch that soared past $800,000 at retail and has completely shattered expectations by topping $3 million at auction. $3 million! At this breathtaking altitude, the normal rules of watch ownership don't even apply anymore. They are completely rewritten.
Let's walk through the ultimate flex of Level 7. Step 1 might be high-end boutique window shopping, where you might spot diamond-paved Day-Date references sitting at nearly 100 grand. But Step 2? That takes you off catalog entirely. For the absolute rarest commissions, buyers literally wait years. They fly out to attend private design meetings in Geneva just to secure a watch so unique it might never even be publicly listed. This is the completely hidden lifestyle of the ultra-rich. And then there's Step 3. Auction house headlines. This is where off-catalog variants quietly trade hands for upwards of $350,000, or where entirely unique pieces cross that multi-million-dollar mark.
So it really all comes down to this. Liquidity is measured in headlines, not resale listings. The Apex lifestyle is completely removed from standard public allocations and price lists. The buyer up here is way less concerned with fleeting trends. Honestly, they aren't even just paying for gold or gems anymore. At this final rung of the ladder, these watches become literal cultural events. And the people buying them, they are chasing untouchability itself.
Which brings us to our final question for you today. Where would you draw the line? We've climbed all the way from the robust, everyday permanence of the $6,200 Oyster Perpetual. We've navigated the intense, crazy collector battlegrounds, and we've reached the soaring $3 million heights of the Rainbow Daytona. Every single rung on this ladder radically redefines what a Rolex actually means, the lifestyle of the person wearing it, and exactly what it costs to truly belong in that specific world. So, looking back at this ladder, which level would you stop at?